All right, here we are again. Yesterday, we left off after the hurricane of 36. The apartment on Adams Street was flooded,
Yes,
and that's when Mem had looked and found the apartment on Howard Place.
yes, yes.
So let's talk about the move to Howard Place.
Okay.
And how old were you at that time?
I think I must have been 13, 14,
Okay, so by that
Well-
time, you had been going to St. Joseph's School for a
I
few
had been
years.
going, yeah, and then we moved to,
And you obviously succeeded in third grade because the sister didn't have to put you back in second grade.
I studied hard, believe me, because I was too proud to go back to second grade, because I would have been a year older than the kids that were there. So she told me if I could keep up, that I could stay in third grade. And now remember too that I hadn't had French classes when I was at public school. So that was another hurdle, but, you know, luckily, we did speak French at the house. So I was able to pick up as far as that. But then we studied, you know, the French history, the Canadian history, and our religion, that was in French. So our morning classes were all in English, but our afternoon, we went to recess, and we were supposed to talk in French when we were playing outside. And then we went in for our French classes, and we had history, we had religion, and we had writing so that we could learn how to talk, how to write in French too. So I can still read French very fluently, and I can write it pretty fluently too. I don't have the occasion to do it, you know, because I'm not with my friends, my French friends here as much as
Right.
before,
So you were about 13 years old, and
I was about 13, yeah, and,
you moved into the second floor on Howard Place.
yes, we did, yeah.
14 Howard Place.
Oh, you remembered that, yeah. Yeah, so, and the reason we got the apartment, because then apartments were scarce too. You know, you were lucky if you found something. Because of the flooding, that's the way it worked out. But Pep had said that, or they asked him if he wanted to take care of the apartments, and we could move there. So we didn't pay rent because he was doing custodial or janitorial work, you know. So
Now, did the flooding affect the block on Howard Place?
well, there was water in the streets, but there wasn't any flooding there, even in the basement.
It's surprising because Howard Place isn't that far away from Adams Street.
It wasn't, but the way it came up through, it flooded up from York Street where the jail was at the time.
Right, right.
And went as pretty much as far as Adams, and I forget, what was after Adams? Then on the other side, like Union Street, William
Yeah.
Street, and, you know, even Howard Street, there was water, but no flooding.
Right.
Yeah, so then, you know, Mem couldn't stand the smell that was left, no matter how you clean. So that's why we moved, and it was on the second floor. We had 5 rooms there, that was nice. Of course, Uncle Simeon moved in too, so he and Harvey shared a bedroom. Lou and I shared the bedroom. So, you know, it worked out good, because then I was walking up to go to Cathedral after I graduated from St. Joe's, and
And at that time, Cathedral was on State Street,
on Elliott Street.
but it was right off of State Street,
Yeah. And they had what they called the Bevan Building, which was for, I shouldn't say smarter students, but all the good students were there. And then they had two houses that they used for classrooms. Those were called the dog houses. And then when I started out, I went into the gas house that we called, because it was a three-story brick building, and they had classrooms, and that's where my freshman class was. And then they had a lab for those that took science in the basement. So when they were experimenting, there we got the odor, this gas smell, so that's why they called it the gas house. So my first year I was in the gas house. My sophomore year I went to the grammar school building. They had a classroom up there. And then after that, I was among the elite, and I went to the Bevan Building for 2 years.
What kind of extracurricular activities did you participate in?
They didn't really. I had joined the minstrel group because I liked to sing, but as far as sports, especially for girls, there wasn't much sports at the time. But I loved singing, so we did a lot of practicing naturally, even before the minstrel took place. So
What did you do during the summers when you were in high school? When school was out?
yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, I helped around the house, that was for sure.
You must have been helping Mem take care of Harvey and Lou.
Oh yeah. And being the oldest, Mem would always say, "You're the oldest, you have to set the example." I got told that so many times. You're the oldest, you have to set the example. Okay, Ma. So anyways, when I was in high school, of course, I was a reader even then. Even as young, I loved to read. So I'd go up to the library and get a lot of books, as many as they would allow me to take. And of course, I had my library card.
This was the Springfield Public Library?
Yeah, up on State Street.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'd got 5 or 6 books, and I'd come home with books. And of course, I just loved to read. And Aunt Lou and I had gotten a bicycle for our birthdays. We were supposed to share the bike, but most of the time she was using the bike and riding off with Harvey, so I'd stay home and read. So
Did you have any pets while you were living?
we always had a dog.
Did you have a dog on Howard Place?
Yes, yeah. I'll tell you a little story. I remember when I first started dating Dad, and he was coming up the stairs, and there was this little dog that we had, this little white dog. I called Skippy. Aunt Lou told me it was Silver, so whatever. And the dog's standing at the top of the stairs, barking her head away, her or he, I forget. And there's Dad looking up. He didn't know what to do. I said, well, come on up. She won't bite. So he had come up, but he didn't care for the dog then because she kept barking at him. So anyways, oh yeah, and another little tidbit too. When we'd have our dinner, and of course, we were supposed to do the dishes too. I'd take a book and I'd go hide in the bathroom. So I think that's where you get your little habit of reading in the bathroom. So, and Aunt Lou was kind of a tattletale. Every time I did something, she'd squeal on me. So, you know, she'd be in the kitchen helping with the dishes, and she'd tell Tim, Rita's in the bathroom reading. She's supposed to be out here doing dishes. And she was always tattling on me. So anyways, and even back then, I used to love chocolates. This is just a little side thing. And Mem used to buy these little chocolate candies. The inside was filled with like peppermint and the outside was chocolate. And she used to hide them in the cabinet way up on the shelf. And I'd find them. No matter where she'd hide them, I'd find them. Then she'd squeal that I found the chocolates.
Hold on,
So anyways,
hold on.